Hi friends, thank you for clicking and start watching the video. We all practicing member knows about Nichiren Daishonin, and if asked, we will be able to explain it very well, I'm sure. Um, I have kept this video focusing on upcoming BSG exam, and the base material is the basics of Buddhism, which is provided through Eternal Ganges, and that is a recommended book. So I have taken that book as a reference and try to simplify and try to make a small nuggets to help the members to quickly do the turnaround of the book and able to clear the exam and able to strengthen the learning and faith. So there may be a lot more to know about nature in Daishonin, but the scope of this video is to only touch upon those aspects which are relevant for BSG exam. So without much delay, let's start. So what I have done, because the entire we talk about the life of nature in Daishonin, I have tried to divide it into multiple small parts so that each part is not more than 10 to 15 minutes long. And after completion of every part, there's a small quiz of 10-15 questions where you can check your understanding, because the intent of this video is not just to understand about the life, but also to um, start articulating it correctly and able to clear the exam. So as part of this, we are first of all focusing on the early life or early years of Nichiren Daishonin, and this is the life of Nichiren Daishonin part 1, where I'll be focusing from the time he born till the time he declared Namyo Renge-kyo. So starting years. So Nichiren Daishonin was born on February 16th, 1222. He belonged to a commoner family which used to earn livelihood from fishing. So he used to live very near to the sea, and the family was poor. And they does in the terms of social hierarchy, if we talk about, so they are definitely not on top. They were like in the bottom two or bottom three. And from the very beginning, from the early years of his life, he had a very deep desire to lead everyone towards happiness and eradicate the fundamental sufferings of life and death. And that is something he was always very passionate about. He ultimately vowed to become the wisest person in entire Japan. And the reason for becoming the wisest person is so that he can lead everyone towards happiness and eradicate the fundamental sufferings of life and death. And with that intent, at the young age of 12, he enrolled himself in a nearby temple, Seicho-Ji. And um, he was so eager, curious, and he has such a high seeking spirit that at a young age of 16, that means just in a 4 years, he was formally entered into priesthood at the same temple, Shichoji, under the senior priest named Dozenbo. So Dozenbo was a name of his mentor or the first teacher under which he became a priest. Now, in pursuit of ultimate truth, ideally, what he could have done is that he could have just stayed there and continued practicing in Seicho-Ji. However, the the seeking spirit and to find the right answer, he kept on pursuing, and ultimately, in pursuit of ultimate truth, he kept on moving from one city to another, such as Kyoto, Kamakura, and Nara, which were Buddhist learning center at that point of time. And not just something which he studied in Seicho-Ji, he also explored different Buddhist schools of that time, like Pure Land, Zen, Nembutsu, and read all the Buddhist scriptures. However, his fundamental question was that if the originator of the entire Buddhism is a single person, that is Shakyamuni Buddha, then if the originator is one, then how come there are multiple schools? How come there are multiple sects? And how about why? What is the reason that though the originator is same, that people are practicing in a different way. Ultimately, there has to be a one particular teaching that would be supreme, that would be containing the single source of truth, what Shakyamuni Buddha would have preached. So that was like a very first principle thinking thought he always had. Finally, after pursuing his quest for truth, he read Lotus Sutra, and as soon as he read Lotus Sutra, he identified that this is it. This is the one particular sutra that is containing the absolute truth of Shakyamuni Buddha's teaching. Now, when he once he understood that this is the ultimate working of universe, Lotus Sutra explains the reasoning for fundamental suffering of life and death. He went back to the place from where all he started his journey. So he went back to Seicho-Ji temple. He went back to the Ava prefecture where where he lived the early years of his life. He went back to Seicho-Ji temple where he started his learning journey, and the intent was that to go to the place where he started and tell the people about the ultimate truth and law of universe. And on April 28th, 1253, that was the first time from Sechuji temple, Nichiren Daishonin declared the supremacy of Lotus Sutra over other Buddhist school, and that was for the first time he chanted Namyo Renge Kyo. So this is about the part one of Nichiren Daishonin life. Let's do a quick summary, and so that we all are on same page. So we talked about when he was born on February 16, 1222, and at the age of 12 he entered into Sechuji temple, and at the age of 16 he entered into priesthood. There is one interesting thing you may have been noticing here, that he was born on February 16, 1222. We are saying that at the age of 12 he entered into Sechuji temple. However, the year shown is 1233. Ideally, 1222 plus 12 should have been 1234. Similarly, he entered into priesthood at the age of 16. That means it should have been 1222 plus 16, 1238. However, all these years are taken, the age is taken from the tradition of that time. At that time, whenever the kid was born, he or she was assigned a age of one. So unlike today's time, when somebody is born and they turn one after 365 days, at that time when somebody was born, they were given a age of one. And that is the reason, though we are saying that he entered at the age of 12, however the year is minus one. Same goes in case of the age when he declared Namyo Renge Kyo, right? So he was 32 years old when he declared Namyo Renge Kyo as a supreme teaching, and declared Lotus Sutra as a supreme sutra of all the sutras preached by Shakyamuni Buddha. So he was 32 years old at that time. So 1222 plus 32 would have been 1254. However, we are talking about from that generation, so minus one, and that is how 1253 comes, right? Now, there are some other interesting elements. His initial name was not actually Nichiren, his initial name was Zenichi Maro. However, he changed his name from Zenichi Maro to Nichiren. Nichiren means sun lotus. In that is another interesting point. Now, if you look at Nichiren Daishonin uh, distillation, how he was able to not just understand the supremacy of Lotus Sutra, but at the same time he was able to distill down the learnings of Lotus Sutra into something very tactical, and very simple manner of Namyo Renge Kyo. So that is something which can be practiced by everyone, and everyone can get benefit out of the entire Lotus Sutra just by chanting Namyo Renge Kyo. And this is something which is which you can compare to the current age, scientists and innovators. If you think from the point of view of Newton conducted a lot of calculation. He wrote a lot of theses. He wrote a lot of papers to prove that there is something called gravity that exists, right? However, for a layman, for a person of who's studying physics, till the time the person is able to apply the formula for gravitation, which is what F equal to G m1 m2 by r square, they will be able to get to the answer, right? Or if you think about Einstein, who has the highest IQ, and who is the person who is considered as who knows about infinity as well, right? So this, if you think from the point of view of Einstein also, though he discovered theory of relativity, he wrote a lot of multiple he wrote more lot of multiple lectures, and he lot of theses. However, if you really need to get a benefit out of theory of relativity, till the time you are able to apply E equal to mc square, you will be able to get all the uh, crux of the entire theory of relativity. So goes in case of Nichiren Daishonin. Uh, Nichiren Daishonin was able to distill down the entire Lotus Sutra and able to comprehend that the crux of Lotus Sutra lies in Namyo Renge Kyo. So if you apply the right formula, you will be able to get the right answer. So yeah, so let's look at the timeline again to understand. And the reason I am again and again talking about this timeline, this number, is because remember, uh, the idea of the entire session is to make sure you are able to understand, able to articulate, and able to reproduce these numbers and at the time of exam. So when was Nichiren Daishonin was born? He was born on February 16, 1222. He was born in our province. At the age of 12, he entered into Buddhist school. The Buddhist school name was Seicho-Ji Temple. At the age of 16, he graduated to become a priest, and he became priest under the senior priest Dozenbo. And he pursued to he was very persistent. He kept on persisting the truth, and ultimately by the age of 32, he able to discover that the truth of Shakyamuni Buddha's teaching lies in Lotus Sutra, and he was able to distill down the teaching into Namyo Renge Kyo. And for the first time on April 28, 1253, he proclaimed Namyo Renge Kyo. And to do so, he again came back to our province. He then went back to his first school, Seicho-Ji Temple, and that place he declared Namyo Renge Kyo as a supreme teaching. And he was 32 years old, and the day was April 28, 1253. So now is the time to take a quiz. You can take quiz through scanning this QR code, or I'll also put the link of the quiz in the description so that you can access it from there, or you can pass it on to the other members for taking the quiz. And looking forward to the next session. Thank you. Thank you so much.